Good evening. I'm ABC6 investigator Brooks Jarosz. Tonight, 3 Waste Watch investigations that affect your wallet. We show you where your tax money is being spent. We begin with the thousands of homes in the city of Columbus left vacant, abandoned, and trashed. And you're left responsible for cleaning up this big mess. Tall weeds and rising grass, broken and boarded up windows, homes left trashed and deserted. Just roll down this section of Mound Street in West Columbus.
Everybody that passes by sees all that, you know what I mean? And then here we are. Like we live right across the street from it.
This is the view Anthony Mossberg and his family sees every day. It's just a few hundred feet from a school zone, a block that's quickly becoming run down.
Like to see them fix it up and give a family a home or something.
This is 2066 Mound Street, overgrown and abandoned. Tired of seeing this eyesore, we took several tips and started digging. ABC6 investigators found numerous code violations and safety concerns.
All neighborhoods, should have properties that don't violate code.
Dana Rose is the Columbus Code Enforcement Administrator. We showed him this neglected home. He wasn't surprised.
It's again, one of the 6,000 that evidently the owner has abandoned, walked away from, so we're going to have to cut that grass and clean it up.
I was kind of shocked, like somebody actually is over there doing something.
The cleanup happened that week. The charge is added to the owner's property taxes. But this property's owner, we learned, was more than 3 years and $6,000 behind on taxes. And as we dug deeper, we cross-referenced the owner's name and stumbled upon the company Realistic Investors, LLC. We decided to see what other homes that company owned. Next door, 2072 Mound Street, vacant, abandoned, and boarded up, with code violations and owing nearly $7,000 in taxes. Down the street, 2425 Mound, overgrown and deserted near a school zone with code violations, owing more than $6,000 in taxes. Around the corner, 2264 Whitehead Road, abandoned and run down. A car registered to that address left sitting with flat tires. And the next street over, 2047 Rhea Avenue. High grass, broken windows, and junk everywhere. The dilapidated house is sitting just feet from a school. All of the properties, according to the Franklin County Auditor, owned by Realistic Investors, LLC.
You need to take responsibility for your property, whether it's an owner or a bank or whatever, if a bank takes a property back.
Accountability becomes a tangled web. Owners have 1 week to fix code violations, or else the city says it will take other actions.
Ultimately, it falls back on the taxpayer.
Contracts to cut grass and remove weeds falls on you. Last year, the city spent $700,000 of your money.
So essentially $700,000 to clean up someone else's mess.
Correct.
According to the Secretary of State, Realistic Investors LLC dissolved in 2011. Since then, these properties have sat unattended. Code enforcement has been keeping them somewhat cleaned up.
We can locate a person, we can take him to court and try to force him to pay us the money back or take care of these properties.
We decided to take on that task and track down the LLC members.
This is it right here.
After visiting their last known address with no luck, we tried phone number.
We're sorry. You've reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
After phone number.
I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Goodbye.
Then a tip took us on a road trip, traveling 60 miles to Xenia, Ohio. To this home. Hi there. A woman who confirmed she was a relative of the couple we were looking for answered the door. Despite the couple's van in the driveway, she told us they weren't home. We questioned her about the properties and the family business.
As far as my knowledge goes,
Sure.
The banks were supposed to take possession of those and they failed to do so.
We checked and the properties are still in limbo. The auditor confirmed to ABC6 Realistic Investors owns these places. Still, we're the ones paying.
There's a lot of needy families that could use houses and stuff, you know. I mean, even if they had to just fix them up enough and sell them, give somebody else a chance to, you know, be able to benefit whatever from it.
As tax liens grow, the city works to take action, ultimately selling or tearing these places down. It's another set of challenges.
But the problem is we've got inventory now.
Leaving it up to you to foot the bill for someone else's trashy taste and irresponsibility. And since our report, at least one of the homes you saw was demolished. Now, if you see blighted or abandoned homes in your neighborhood, call Columbus Code Enforcement. New tonight, an update on misspent Medicaid money. We introduced you to a man forced to stay in a nursing home rather than at home following his surgery. Well, tonight he's at home and we checked in to see how he's doing.
It was time to come home. It was time.
Going against doctor's orders, Dale Kennison ditched his wound vac and came back home to be with his best friend. 6 months ago, Kennison had major surgery. He expected to spend 5 days recovering in a nursing home, but it turned out to be more than 5 months. He decided enough is enough.
I just felt I was going to be kept there longer and longer.
The problem is Medicaid will not cover the cost of the wound vac at home. Kennison would have to pay $20 a day out of pocket, but Medicaid will pay on average at least $200 a day for him to be in a nursing home. That's your tax dollars.
It's definitely an example of the failures in the system.
Disability Rights Ohio is now working with Kennison and pushing to fix what it calls an inflexible Ohio Medicaid system. Kennison says he's just happy to be home. And coming up, security at the State House. Wait until you see what you're spending money on. And the question, is it worth it?
So you have some of these decisions that leave you scratching your head.
We're not talking about metal detectors or extra guards. Instead, high-priced furniture. Stick around, we'll explain why. You might call it secret security because you either can't see it or don't realize it's considered protection. And $2 million of your money is being spent to beef things up at the Ohio State House, but not in the way you might think. Beyond the iron bars, below the state seal, and above the parking garage sits the Ohio State House, a place for the people, a place that's under watch.
You'll see a lot more of a presence from the Highway Patrol.
Securing this space means more of your money, not in the form of uniformed state troopers. 60 miles away in Zanesville, Ohio.
I like my job. I like working with wood, so I can't imagine doing anything else.
Woodworkers are cutting out a new form of security.
It's neat working on something that could protect someone's life in a tragedy situation.
You can see the shaping, sealing, and smoothing of these desks, but they hide a safety secret.
Nobody really knows it's bulletproof, you know, except us. That's kind of cool.
Behind these panels, an impassable shield, all 6 costing about $50,000. It's just part of a nearly $2 million plan to increase security at the State House, starting with the construction of a $378,000 wrought iron fence.
We have to abide by the National Historic Preservation Act, so we can't put anything modern in there.
It's considered security. Luke Stedke is with the Capitol Square Review and Advisory Board. He says these types of upgrades are well worth the cost.
I think we're spending exactly what the legislator wants us to spend.
While the legislature is spending money for security for a fence, they're now allowing guns inside that fence and below the State House in the parking garage. They're just not allowed in the building.
You have some of these decisions that leave you scratching your head.
Brian Rothenberg heads up think tank Progress Ohio. He's outraged that this law, this fence, and these 6 desks are the only things being put in place to protect us.
I don't know that the bulletproof desk makes that much of a difference, other than a few people can hide behind it.
It's a fine line that you have to walk because this is a public building.
The public can access the State House from 4 entrances. The rest are on lockdown. Troopers will be on guard behind these new bulletproof desks.
It's still an open door, it's just a more secure door.
When you walk up to the door, there's signs telling you no guns. Once inside, cameras capture every move. And after you pass the trooper station, where you go from there is up to you.
If you're really worried about security, it's not money that's going to keep that from happening. It's common sense, like we don't need guns in the parking garage and we don't need guns on the front lawn.
Leaving it up for debate whether or not you're safe and paying the proper price for protection.
We did some digging and found neighboring states like Pennsylvania and Indiana have metal detectors and x-ray machines at every entrance. And we found troopers at the Ohio State House will have metal detecting wands, but so far they aren't required to use them. Coming up on Friday at 11, Big Bucks in Bronze. It's the newest art project planned for downtown Columbus, and it's costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars. The city says it's an effort to revitalize the city. You're paying to have these humanized deer shipped from Washington State, and it has an Ohio artist fired up.
Not even to get a phone call and not even to be considered for the casting, yeah, I feel neglected.
We're crunching the numbers and reveal how much dough was spent on big bronze bucks. Don't miss this special Waste Watch investigation. That's Friday at 11 right here on ABC 6 News.